Summer House, we are on episode 6. This is entitled Shipwrecked. The description we get is Jesse feels the pressures of monogamy. It doesn't look like he's feeling the pressures. Kyle sits down with Craig to hash out their issues. That's not true. That happens next week's episode. Kyle tries to sit down with Craig, would be better. We start off as we always do with people picking each other up. Jesse's picking the dudes up. Craig is driving with Paige, picking Gabby up. This is an episode where we do not have Lindsay and we do not have Lexi, and Bailey is gone forever probably. She is no longer spoken of. The missing signs are all over the Hamptons. Have you seen me? Bailey! Craig gets out and was like, we got you snacks, Gabby. Let me get your luggage in. And Paige is like, I bought the snacks. You can already see the cracks, folks. Cracks are everywhere. And then Jesse and Wes are driving shotgun. Imrul and Carl come up, and this feels just like a car ride where they're like smelling each other's fingers. And just, by the way, I want the unedited audio from this 3-hour car ride up to the Hamptons, because it's just got to be gnarly. Of like, dude, did you smell your balls today? Crazy shit, man. Dude, Amanda's got huge knockers. Did you notice that, bro? Man, you know who else has got knockers? Ciara's got knockers. Crazy, bro. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's what that whole car conversation seems like it's going to be. And Carl, listen, and I'm sure we'll talk about this on Monday on the Pop Culture Roundup with Sophie. Sophie texted me yesterday, I think. It was at the airport because I think she's visiting her family maybe in Cincinnati. I'd also go listen to Snarkbait, Sophie's other show. But she said, oh my God, I just ran into Carl at the airport and I had a 10-minute conversation with him. And I was like, whoa. I was like, did you tell him the pod? She's like, no, I don't, because I talk so much shit. And I was like, good strategy. But I'm sure we'll talk more about that on Monday. But listen, I see a lot of discourse out there of people still really hating Carl. And I get that. I understand that. But I think at the end of the day, he's being as honest as he can be with himself. And I feel like he's giving himself this time to heal. Like, he's doing all of these steps, right? And I don't know that process, so I can't really come down on somebody trying to make their life better. Does it make for the most dynamic reality television? Maybe not. But also, I think there is some play in somebody being so type A about setting up a pirate party at the summer house and inviting a girl over that's flirting about lemurs that really, it's very awkward. And Carl's like, I haven't had sex in a year. Like, he should be, like, a statue should be made of him. But it feels like some of the men of Summer House do want to make a statue of Carl. Of like, remember that year Carl went sober from sex? But I will say, it's like, we know Carl from these earlier seasons, and people that haven't watched the earlier seasons of Summer House and you hate Carl, maybe go back and watch the earlier seasons, because you see that this man was completely comfortable being on alcohol and drugs, and that made him feel free to be aggressive when it came to women and to probably have sex a lot. And he is saying, I don't want to be this person anymore. Also very nervous around Lindsay still, obviously. But Lindsay's on her different path. I never thought they would have like the same healing timelines at all. Did I think Lindsay was immediately going to get pregnant? Well, you know what? Yeah, I did, actually. Yeah, I totally did. But everybody has their own journey. And I think, I just want Carl to be safe. I want people genuinely to be happy, but you can just see like roadblocks up ahead. But that's what I'm saying. Like with Wes and Jesse, man, be careful. You got Imrul out here pulling chicks right and left, doing threesomes right and left. But he's like being open and honest about it. He's also saying, yeah, somebody's going to have to be really special to want to turn my head. And you think that he probably relays that message to the women that he's in these 8 billion threesomes with. But Wes and Jesse are hiding behind this fact of getting girls to like them and then them actually just wanting to have sex. And so I think they almost like look at Carl and Emerald as like, what the fuck is wrong with these dudes, dude? Like, and how's Emerald getting the sex, but he doesn't have the girls texting and bothering him? Like, these girls are bothering us, even though the girls are bothering you because you acted like you wanted to be in a full-blown relationship. But I don't know. And as I get older, I'm like, I don't know if I just chalk that up to youth. I don't know what, but you see hazard ahead. And that's why these men should never leave the summer house. So in Craig and Paige's car with Gabby, they're talking about having to meet up with Kyle. And Craig's like, listen, dude, Kyle called me a liar on national TV, which I am not a liar. And I feel like the jury is really out on that one. it seems like there's a lot of instances where Craig has lied. But this all stems from the Watch What Happens Live episode where Andy asked Kyle a question and Kyle just unleashed on Kyle about Spritz Society, another spritzer brand. And Paige says, like, listen, he told Kyle he was going to invest in another alcohol company. And Craig's like, even if I had said that, what bearing does it have on Kyle's life at all, chicken? That space is massive. Kylie and Kendall are sisters, Gabby. And they each have a fucking, they have a fucking liquor brand. It's a huge space. Like, it doesn't affect Kyle. And I get Craig's point, but I also get Kyle's point of like, it doesn't affect, but there's a layer of hurt because you are close in a certain way that like, dude, this is what we are trying to do. And also I feel that it's a threat of like, well, I don't want Spritz Society all over Southern Charm all of a sudden, right? There is like brand recognition and wanting like Bravo to be associated with Loverboy as like you have that space of like, Kyle's the one with the spritzer. Kyle and Amanda and Carl spritzer. And then you don't want that space being clouded up with like everybody having a spritzer all of a sudden, just like every fucking Bravo celebrity has a podcast. Anyways, in the men's car, they're just barking. They're just barking. They're literally, like I said, if testosterone had like a face, this car with these men would be it. Even Carl's trying to howl. He's like, oh. We find out that Lexi's in Toronto. Her best friend had a baby, so she's not there. When the cat's away, the glands will play. Carl lets us know he's putting a lot of money and effort into this pirate party. He has a boat coming, and he's very excited about it. And Emerald lets us know that he invited a bunch of girls, but Carl also lets us know he invited a girl. And Jesse's like, show me the picture now. I'm like, Jesse, you're driving. And Carl's like, she sent me a selfie last weekend. And we see the selfie. She looks very lithe, very toned. And Carl's like, she's tall. She's got a good body. What I look for in a lady. Carl lets us know in a talking head that she slid into his DMs. We started messaging in October. And fast forward, it's now summer. If you do the math, October is a month. And then I think summer starts, what is it, May or June? So that's at least 10 or 11 months, right? So, but Carl says she's also got a good personality. And we're seeing more photos. She's energetic. She's a yoga instructor. And Carl's feeling it, guys. I'm not, listen, it's not my cup of tea. But that's, nobody's asking if it was my cup of tea. So I apologize. But yeah, like if that's what you feel. But Carl says, I'm looking for a connection. But I haven't had sex since last summer. And then Jesse's like, we're getting Carl laid this weekend. Let's treat this like a fraternity. We're going to fully pressure this woman where she has anxiety for years to come this weekend. And then Wes is like, I want you to find pirates booty. And these bros just laughing. And Carl's like, I fucking love you guys. Sometimes you need that male camaraderie that just is so idiotic when you look at it on camera. You're like, oh, I've been there. And it's fucking dark when you see it presented back to you. So Paige and Craig get in there. They're going to start setting up for Amanda's birthday. They got all her favorite snackies, and they're going to decorate with balloons. Right when she walks in, she's going to know this birthday is for her. We got a cake. Then all of a sudden, we have Ciara pulling in. I don't know. They're just setting up, you guys. This is where I'm saying it's vibes. Now, the men pull up, and they go, the dogs are here. Woo, woo, woo. And they just start barking like idiots again. It's just setting up for Amanda's birthday party, right? Super easy. Amanda and Kyle get there and they're like, happy birthday. And by the way, I will say, Amanda in a talking head says, her mental health is so much better this year. I think she's on the right medication, but she does look happy. She looks healthier. She looks all of those things. And it's just a shout out to everybody is like, really take care of your mental health. It's something I deal with every day. It's up and down. And it's one of those things that you see Amanda and you're like, there are so many positive benefits of focusing on yourself. People are like, I'm doing me time, but like do me time with intentions, just like Carl dates with intention. Like do something where you're like, see a therapist, and it's fucking hard. They make it really hard to do these things. See a therapist, get on medication if you need to. These things really do affect it. But now the overall thing, of course, it's Amanda's birthday, but the real elephant in the room is Kyle and Craig. Will these two former lovers mend fences? And you can see Craig looking at Kyle because Kyle hasn't acknowledged Craig. And Craig's like, feel it. And by the way, Craig doesn't have the Pat, like they're not lighting him as well as they light him on Southern Charm. So he just seems really out of place here. Maybe it's just me thinking that. But Kyle in a talking head says, like, what he did was super shady, and the guy hasn't apologized. And did I let my emotions get the best of me? Yes, every episode. But the fact of the matter was I was lied to and I was hurt. And so now it's about saving whatever friendship is there and probably more importantly, making sure that it doesn't affect the relationship between Amanda and Paige. He goes, probably. Oh, yeah, and more importantly. So Carl's talking about setting up for tomorrow's party. Now in the men's room, Wes and Jesse sharing the bedroom. They're already here. They're already up there playing grab ass. Jesse's doing a handstand and got his crotch right in Wes' face. I don't know if you're watching The White Lotus this season, but it totally reminds me of the brother relationship with Patrick Schwarzenegger and Lachlan on White Lotus. I'm like, by the end of it's something really uncomfortable is going to happen between these men. We're just getting too close. By the end of this episode, they pushed their beds together. I'm not joking, but we are like literally, I'm freeze framed on a shot of Jesse Solomon's nut in Wes' face, and Wes has a big old smile. These are bros just being bros. And by the way, I am not saying do not do this kind of behavior. I'm just saying it is so overly familiar that I would imagine this is how male, female threesomes start. This is how I imagine this happens. Anyways, they're just boys being boys. They're the dogs, man. Carl tells Kyle outside that, he's got the soft bar launching and he's really excited. It's elevated cocktails without alcohol. And he's happy that Lindsay gave him shit about it last season because it actually made it better. Yeah, man, whatever makes you happy. I wish the best for soft bar, right? He says, but Kyle, are you going to talk to Craig this weekend? He's like, yeah, as an entrepreneur, as a founder, there is no delineation between your business and your personal life, right? You've seen that, Carl. And so I take things personally. We know. So when someone is like, oh, it's just a business. No, it's actually personal in my world. But tonight, what I want you just to acknowledge with him is just why I felt hurt and why I want to make sure that our girls are good and we can go on double dates. I want to make sure that we can go to restaurants together on double dates. And I want to maybe potentially see movies and Broadway shows together. That's what I want. Look, we'll see how it goes, right? Carl's like, yeah, definitely. We'll see how it goes. Amanda lets us know she has the biggest pimple on her chin. It's just vibes, folks. The guys are just chilling in their bedroom. And they're like, let's do a slumby tonight, which is Wes' version of slumber party. He just always does a Y on the, he'll shorten the word and put a Y. Let's do a slumby. And I'm sure girls love this at first, but I'm telling you guys, giant red flag. No offense, by the way. No offense to Wes and Jesse. You're doing what you do. West, the slumby thing also got brought up because they were saying Ciara is acknowledging Wes more. And they're like, maybe she should come to the slumby. And Wes goes, well, a big win for me would be hi and goodbye from Ciara. When we get in the house, eye contact, whatever. She won't look me in the eye still, Jesse. And Jesse goes, honestly, I'm going to talk to her, Wes. I got it. I'm going to also flirt with her when I do it. I'm friends with both of you, Wes, and it shouldn't be like this. Jesse lets us know in a talking head that they hung out a lot last summer, and I miss her. I want to talk to her. I want to see those tatas, right? I enjoy her company. And this guy, he is so sweet and wholesome when you see his visage on screen. And these women love him. Like I said on Watch What Happens Live, Amanda was encouraging Ciara to hook up with Jesse. But I feel are we watching? And by the way, I could be completely in the minority. It's happened before. But are we all watching the same show? Then Jesse says to Wes, are there any girls you're excited about? And Wes is like, am I about to date anyone? No. And Jesse's like, that's fucking bullshit. And they're like, ah. And Jesse's like, I see a girl's name pop up on your phone all the fucking time. I don't know who you're trying to tell, but I fucking know. Wes in a talking head goes, fuck it, I'll say it. I feel like I like attention. So yeah, my phone is juicy most of the time. Sorry, let's just pause this while we all go vomit all of our contents of our stomach lining out. My phone is juicy sometimes. Yeah, my phone is, I'll admit it, I like attention. My phone is juicy. Oh, God, just imagine a dripping phone. Wes goes, at this point, I'm on a heater. 2 weeks without getting yelled at without Ciara, and I got to keep it rolling. I'm going to parlay this shit. They ask about the specific girl that Jesse asked about. He said, the girl he talks about lives in Montana. And if I was seeing someone serious, he'd probably be first to know. It's either him or my mom. Actually, it's not. I think it's Jesse's. Sorry, Mom. No, you saved your mom in this one. I love that he's like, I couldn't possibly be dating her. She lives in Montana. Okay. Yeah. She's not in Zimbabwe, dude. No, there's proof that I'm not dating her because she's in Montana. How would that even work? That's crazy. Technology like that doesn't exist to make relationships exist like that. So no, there's no way. Anyways, Uber Eats gets delivered, and I did stay tuned for the credits. Uber Eats does a paid promotional advertising on Summer House, and that's why Uber Eats is all over the show this season, right? We've got pizza. Everybody is sitting around the table, and it's just vibes. Again, Craig is dipping his pizza into some ranch. Kyle sits down awkwardly, and dinner is commencing, even though they're already eating pizza. But Jesse's upstairs looking at himself in the mirror for the last 2 hours. And we see Jesse looking at himself in the mirror. Is the baseball cap on right? Do we have the appropriate number of buttons and gold jewelry on? And they're like, well, he knows Lexi isn't here this weekend. Carl has gotten into his cozies. Big news, big character development here. Jesse finally comes down. They're all like, oh, please join us. You and your outfit, buddy. All right. And everybody's like clapping for him. It's cute. It's nice. Our friends at Quince makes the shopping experience so easy. All you have to do is go to quince.com. In fact, I just did it right now. And you're immediately hit with everything you need. New arrivals, bestsellers, women, men, home, baby and kids, travel, lookbooks, corporate gifting. They have it all, and they make it so easy. Now, elevating my style used to mean breaking the bank. But with Quince, I get high-end, versatile pieces at prices I can actually afford. Now I can upgrade my style by snagging killer luxury items that sync with my vibe and my wallet, and it will for yours too. Quince has all the must-haves, like Mongolian cashmere sweaters from $50, iconic 100% leather jackets, and comfortable pants for every occasion. The best part, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They do this by partnering directly with top factories. Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passing the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices along with premium fabrics and finishes. How do you not love that? Now, you guys know by now I have the Quince blue beautiful button-up shirt. I have the blue sports jacket. Are you sensing a theme here? But I also have the cashmere socks. I've also bought gifts for my sister from Quince. They truly do have it all. You can trust them completely. So indulge in affordable luxury. Go to quince.com/sobad for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/sobad to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/sobad. Amanda's like, Jesse, who are you getting dressed for? Lexi's not here. And they're like, oh, Jesse and Lexi dinner talk. Classic. I can't tell if you guys think my outfit looks good or bad, though. And Craig goes, I like it. I like it. Jesse goes, thanks, Craig. Thanks, Craig. Kyle's like, yeah, we all like your outfit. That's the point. So we do a toast to Amanda's 33rd birthday, and I'm just so happy in that toast. It was like, happy 33rd birthday, Amanda. You're surrounded by friends and maybe one potential traitor. Spritz Society sucks balls. So we're talking about the new ways to cut cake that we see on TikTok. And Craig kind of joins the conversation where Kyle's right. He's like, I've seen it. You take a cup and you scoop the cake. And Kyle's like, oh, he's making direct eye contact with me. Okay. And they're like, oh, hey, should we get a cup and try it? And Kyle's like, yeah, like they cut it into squares, like a thin edge. So they're trying to bro out on cake right now. And Craig's like, it's not as messy as you think, but you know. And Jesse and Ciara are over the side watching, and Jesse is such a shitster. He'd make a perfect housewife. He's like, are they getting along or what, Ciara? Has the beef been squashed before my arrival, Ciara? And Ciara doesn't know, but Jesse's on top of these things. He's like really good at picking up signals, unless you're a woman. And Jesse all of a sudden calls out, God bless Jesse Solomon in some ways. Jesse calls out from the side of the room. He goes, you guys, meaning Kyle and Craig, you guys are getting along so well. Did I miss a squashing of the beef? And Kyle's like, I sent a couple texts to just try to like address it ahead of time with Craig. Emerald just looks bored as shit. He's thinking like, who am I sleeping with tonight? And Kyle's like, I'm not trying to avoid it. And Craig's like, I don't think you are trying to avoid it. You sent me a nice text, he tells Kyle. And I texted you back. I texted you back. And Kyle's like, hey, I just want to take care of the friendship. There's not like some aha thing. And Wes and Jesse are watching this with like hawk eyes. Craig's like, well, no, I want to work on the friendship too. And that's why, Paige looks so uncomfortable. Make me a bird and fly me far, far away uncomfortable. But Craig goes, it's just been a long day, Kyle. We were in traffic. We had to be with Gabby. We were in traffic for like 5 hours. I personally would like to do it tomorrow. And Amanda's like, yeah, just do it tomorrow. Like, it's my birthday. Please, come on, don't do this. And Kyle goes, no, we'll talk tonight. Craig goes, why can't we just do it tomorrow, chicken? Kyle's like, I figured it would just be good to do it. And Kyle's like, I know, but I just want to do it tomorrow, dude. What's the big deal? And Kyle's like, I just want to make sure we are able to enjoy the weekend. And Craig goes, I don't want to. And he's like, Kyle's like, why? He goes, I don't know why we're going to force this right now. Because we're on reality television in the summer house. I just want to talk tomorrow, Kyle. And Amanda's like, just talk tomorrow, Kyle. It's not you. Craig goes, it would be forced if we still had it tonight, because I've asked now 3 times to do it tomorrow. Amanda goes, just leave it, Kyle. Just leave it. Kyle's like, I didn't know it was a timing thing. I didn't know. In a talking head, Kyle goes, my goal was to take this head on, get this off our chest. But so much me trying to minimize the awkwardness, like, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? So Kyle is like pouting at the table right now. And like the cake, we had the cake in the celebration and now it's kind of ruined for Amanda's birthday. It's ruined. It's so awkward, you guys. Amanda goes, it's not you, Kyle. It's not. And he goes, I know. Shh, I know. I gotta go outside and cry. He steps outside with a lover boy. And he goes to himself, he goes, this fucking dude. Where's a good tree to cry under? Carl goes out to check on his hombre. And you see Kyle outside pacing the lawn. He goes, he's such a fucking cock fucking sucker. I'm like, Jesus, Kyle. Jesus. Amanda, the talking head, goes, I'm just at a point where I'm so tired of Kyle fighting with Craig. I'm constantly trying to talk Kyle off a ledge because it will affect my relationship with Paige. I mean, when Hannah and Kyle had a big falling out, it was so awkward for us. And we flash back to Hannah and Kyle fighting, Amanda eventually getting into the fight. And she's like, I don't want that happening ever, ever again. So that's all I'm trying to prevent too. You really do feel for Amanda. Kyle comes back in. He's still mumbling to himself. He's like, Jesus Christ, bro. Jesus Christ, bro. And they're like, should we party for Amanda's birthday? Kyle, do you want to DJ? Who wants to go out? Emerald's like, I'm down. Somebody say Dick? No. Going out? Yeah, let's do it. And then Emerald says, if you come out, I'll buy us a table. Now, just so you guys don't know, if you don't remember your clubbing days, or if you do remember your clubbing days, back when I was in my clubbing days or worked at a nightclub, a table, you'd have to do a 2 to 3 bottle minimum. And those bottles, 15, 20, 50, however long it was, we would sell it like $600, $700 a bottle. So fast forward to 2024, the Hamptons buying a table. Now, I'm hoping they get like a summer house discount of some sort, but I would imagine we're going at $1,000 a bottle. And if you have, I don't know how many people with them, that's a lot of money for Emerald to just throw down. I know all I need to know about his sex life. Now I want to know about his financial stability. So Wes is like, do you want to put your shoes on and get out of here, Jesse Solomon? But a lot of people are staying back. Kyle's even staying home, right? Wes and Jesse are in their room, and we're seeing Beefy West put on deodorant in front of Gabby. They're just boys being boys, right? So a lot of people leave. Paige is already in bed. Craig is coming out of the bathroom with a trash bag for some reason. I mean, maybe to shovel all the shit that he's caused into it. Paige says her body hurts. Kyle is putting lover boys and non-alc lover boys into the outside coolers for tomorrow's party. But Craig is explaining to Paige, I didn't want to do it tonight. I don't want it to be like real quick. You know, he doesn't deserve this combo anyways, Paige. If we're going to have it, it's going to be on my terms. And I'm like, ooh, Craig, come on, man. Like, it's going to be such a masculine way of coming at things, and shows potentially the frustration in Paige and Craig's relationship if he is so stalwart in how he views these kind of things. We cut to footage of Carl, Gabby, Emerald, Jesse, and Wes partying at the club. Paige is already asleep. Craig is literally picking his nose in bed. So this is love, folks. Are you sleeping, chicken? Are you sleeping? The people come back from the party, and guys, Emerald came in without a girl this time. So it was a no-go on Emerald doing a three-peat, sadly, but it seems like they had a good time. And so everybody's going to bed. I don't know, they're doing prop comedy with food. Wes looks a little amped up. Potentially amped up. They're feeding Jesse macaroni and cheese. This is what I'm saying. It's not character development, but it's vibes. And it reminds you of a time and place where you once existed, where you would have all-night parties and come back from the club, right? We pushed the beds together in Wes and Jesse's room for the slumby. And Wes comes in and takes a look at what Jesse's done. He's like, fire, dude. I couldn't ask for anything better. Couldn't. Wes in the talking head says, I am happy for Jesse about his relationship with Leslie, but this weekend is about, like renewing our vows and seeing what transpires without a little fucking girlfriend running around, with a little bitch running around, getting in his rear view, He's joking, but there's an element of truth to it. Wes tells Jesse, if Lexi thinks she's ever going to take this away from me, grab-assing with you away from me, Emerald's like eating pizza while he's throwing away the pizza that he's eating. It's truly amazing. So the guys are falling asleep. We see night vision of them falling asleep. It is the next morning at the summer house. People are getting up. Kyle actually feels good for once because he didn't go out. And Amanda's like, look how good you feel. And he's like, shut your mouth. No, he's like, yeah, I feel really good today. It must feel wild, like when you don't drink, and then, like for Kyle, it must actually just feel like so renewing. Carl's already got his workout clothes on. Craig and Paige are in bed yawning together, and they're talking about last night again. And Craig's like, this is a really weird position to be in. And Paige is like, I feel awkward too. Like, I'm hanging with a guy, Paige, that has said some fucking crazy shit recently. Have you heard what you've said about pandas? Craig goes, we're not as tight as we used to be. And so, if I didn't come out to the Hamptons with you, I don't know if, Kyle, if I would have ever really made up. Yeah, I don't personally think that in this moment, he deserves, my friendship, the Craig friendship. Paige in the talking head says, I'm a little annoyed with Craig for, reasons between me and Craig and our own relationship. And now I have this extra layer of being mad at Craig about avoiding this conversation with Kyle, and it's stressing me out. And he's making me more anxious, and I think that what also is making me mad is he's not realizing that he's making me anxious. Craig tells her, I'm going to, talk to him, and it's going to be, when I want to talk. And I don't want to rush the conversation. I want to take my time. Because, I think the conversation is a little more serious than he realizes. Now I really do want to see the conversation, which we don't see in this week's episode. So a lot of the men, not Craig, goes to the gym and pumps iron like men. We have the people coming in to set up the party. We have the pirate boat being delivered. Carl lets us know they're bringing in sea cutery, not charcuterie, sea cutery. We got shrimp, we got lobster rolls, we got clams, all the things. I love that he's really throwing it all out there, and he's really excited that Lindsay's not going to be there. So, let him have his moment, right? Amanda's in her bedroom working on her swimwear line. We found out on Watch What Happens Live that the first drop sold out. There'll be a next drop, I think, in June, maybe. Is that right? But I love that Amanda's actually working on something, and working on something that is her and her designs or her vision. And I believe that kind of shit is a slow process building anything, right? So Gabby talks about Carl going, I'm really glad Carl has this moment, that he's happy. He said he has someone coming to the party. And I have never really seen Carl outside of his relationship with Lindsay. I don't know what he's like. I want to see him spit game. It's kind of like watching a baby take their first steps or something. Now, I appreciate Gabby in this talking head so much more than I really disliked her comment about Carl in the first episode. Even though I'm Team Lindsay, it was just like, yeah, you with your big fake teeth and your non-alc, you don't bring anything to the table. And I'm like, that is balls to say when, like, what are you necessarily bringing to the table besides Lindsay's backup in most episodes? So it's nice that they split the Lindsay-Gabby dynamic up. And I did like Gabby in this episode, but I thought that was such a low blow that I'm so curious how she feels about that comment now. So I was glad to have this talking head moment about Carl. You don't have to like Carl, but you also can't just be like, you bring nothing to the table. This dude's been here from the beginning. I know it's essentially a very different Carl. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I even took that personally. So we're at the gym. All right, boys, let's hit it. And if they do the normal thing about just talking about girls, Emerald invited 20 girls to the party. They're talking about Lexi. Did Lexi say anything to you about this weekend? Did she say anything like, be good? And Jesse was like, yeah, she said, behave this weekend. And I was like, whoa. And I love that. This is the other thing I don't understand. I read isn't Lexi isn't that okay to be good this weekend? Because you know Jesse is a walking gland. You see all of his Instagram comments. So if you were serious about somebody, isn't that okay? Now it gets extreme of like, share your location, blah, 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 blah. But like, isn't that okay? Why are we painting this person out to be a horrific person for saying like, and by the way, we find out in this scene that they haven't had sex yet, which is probably the only reason why he's still interested at all, because he's waiting to have sex before he completely abandons her. I don't even know if he knows that. That's probably subconscious, but that's one of the reasons. It's like, good on you, girl. Cause she says, I have sex with people I fully date, right? Why is that a bad thing? And I don't know. I thought that was actually pretty impressive, but I love the guys who are like, what? No, fuck. I like you're like, I want to call her a whore, but she's not. Fuck, bitch. Can I call her a bitch? So I thought this was good for somebody to stand up for their beliefs, right? But it's like already painting Lexi out to be this person that I don't know if she is. Maybe she is this person. We just haven't seen it, but it's painting her out to be. Now we're back at the summer house. The guys get back from the gym. Ciara's in the pool. Paige is in the pool. Craig's in the pool. We got hands on deck though. Carl needs help setting up a tarp because he's going to set up like little islands and little stations. And he really is fully into this party, you guys. So a lot of people are helping the tarp, but they don't want to ask Craig. Kyle's like, I don't want to ask Craig to help. Now, Jesse jumps into the pool and gets on the pool float with Ciara. And he's like immediately like touching legs. And he's like, this is turning me on right now. Of course, Lexi would be like, behave this weekend because this is how you are. And Ciara's like, what? My leg is turning you on? Like at this point, it's like just air turns Jesse on. Ciara's like, you're nuts, dude. And he's like, I'm sorry, you have a smoking body. Ciara says, me and Jesse definitely flirt, but like, I don't have any intentions behind it. But I do think that if the opportunity presented itself, she says that I got 90%, he'd probably take it. I'll go one step further, Ciara. I bet 100% he would probably take it. Are you out of your mind? And by the way, I'm afraid Ciara is going to do something with Jesse. And they're encouraging it, just like Molly and Shep on Southern Charm. But Jesse, this is the kind of behavior that it's like, yeah, man, you are not ready for a relationship. 100%. Like, you are years away. You are probably the Shep of Summer House. You are years away from an actual relationship. And I don't think that's bad to say. I just think he needs to have that realization. But I think he uses, I don't know. Anyways, Ciara rings the bell to celebrate Carl and this party. And then Jesse goes, hey, Ciara, throw a jingle on that bell. Can we get a jingle for Carl's wiener? Getting some action today? And Ciara's like, what? And then the bell breaks, which is not a good sign for Carl, which was actually pretty funny. They're all putting on pirate outfits for the pirate party. Listen, this is why Summer House is vibes, because it's, even if you don't like the scene, they're always in some sort of insane costume that they're trying to outdo each other. Ciara's got like the full fucking makeup team from Avatar with her half the time. But Jesse's like, listen, I'm still thinking about Lexi, even though it's a boys' weekend. Don't you worry. I miss her. I want to talk to her, and I just don't want anything to jeopardize our relationship. Oh, is those Ciara's tatas? Never mind. Back. No. Like, give me a break, dude. It is so, like, the fact, it is, like, alarming how quick these scenes are together of him flirting with Ciara, and then him saying, I don't want anything to jeopardize, and people are like, he seems like a good guy. He goes, sure, flirting is fun, but I'm not going to go talking to girls. If they happen to fall on my dick, different story. But I'm not going to try to get numbers at the party unless they put them in my phone themselves without me seeing. I'm not doing anything suspicious, though, unless you think I am. Ciara's like fully dressing up like a parrot, I think. But Amanda dresses up like a parrot as well. Gabby is dressed up as Halle Berry from Die Another Day, the James Bond film. And they're like, how does that fit into the theme of the party? And they're like, well, it's what I have. Fuck off. She looks good. Carl's really excited. He tries to blow into the shell. It doesn't blow at all. Carl's not having a lot of luck with all of this, but the party looks great. Now the people are starting to arrive at the party. All the girls are coming in. Amanda and Paige download and said, Craig and Kyle still haven't talked. Like, men are ridiculous. It gives us so much anxiety. I don't know what to do with them. And Paige is like, Craig is just like, these guys are just very emotional. Like, I'm so annoyed with Craig, she tells Amanda. Like, we went out to dinner on Thursday night and he was just like, you know, like, I never thought I would be in this. What did he say? I never thought I would be in this. What was the exact word? It was so, submissive. I never thought I would be in this submissive of a relationship, which is kind of a deal. Like, that's a pretty bold statement at an Australian restaurant. But Paige says, I'm going on a 35-city tour with Giggly Squad, and I already feel anxiety about this, and now I have to feel like you're going to feel second best and not supported, you know? And she goes, I told him I want him to feel like he's a priority, but work will come first for a lot of things. Everything I'm doing in this next year is what I've wanted since I was a kid. And Amanda's like, I am so excited for you. I am so excited for you. But she says, I have a feeling by the end of this tour, I am going to hate Craig. Spoiler alert, she does end up passionately disliking Craig. So everybody's coming out in their costumes. Ciara kills it. I mean, it really is scary. She's really known for these costumes. Amanda has a very similar costume. It's just in red, not white like Ciara's. Now the yoga girl, Carl's yoga girl comes in and she's like, you're looking good, Carl. He's got like a red bandana and smoky eye makeup and it's awkward, but it should be awkward. And she's like, you got guy liner, Carl. It works for you though. Your eyes fucking pop. You're giving me like lemur energy. Madagascar lemur. And Carl's like, oh yeah. Okay. And she goes, it works. He goes, do you like lemurs? And she goes, very much. Carl says in a talking head, am I rusty? Yes. Am I awkward? Also yes. But I'm just figuring shit out here. And yes, by the way, this is where it's like, yeah, man, he's just trying to figure shit out. At least he's not like he's, you know, like he's trying to figure shit out. Jesse starts flirting with the girl that Carl brought. He's like, are you a dancer? What do you do? And she's like, I want Carl to come to hot yoga with me. And he's like, oh, well, I do want to do hot yoga with you, but I feel like I want to go on a proper date first and then do hot yoga. And then Jesse goes, screw the date. What about tonight? Are you staying here? And he tries to fist bump her. You staying here? And Carl's like, you can stay here. And Jesse's like, invite her over, dude. And he's like, look at me hooking my brother Carl up for sex. All right. So they're all looking at Carl's new girl, the girls from across the way. Amanda lets us know a little more information that Carl went to a soccer game by himself. He sat next to this girl's parents, and then they ended up connecting in the fall because of her parents, which is a wild, like Carl went to a soccer game by himself. I've been to concerts by myself, but it's wild. Like got set up through the parents, and now their daughter is on Summer House and being talked to as like the first person Carl's going to sleep with in a year. Wild. Looks like good shrimp are at this party, though. I'm worried about it being out in the sun. Now, Paige and Craig go and have a conversation in one of the pool floats on the tarp. And they're starting to talk. And Paige is like, do you see that I've made you a priority this weekend? But there's only so much I can do. Let me tell you, I try, Craig. And Craig goes, I didn't say you don't try and make me feel like a priority chicken. And Paige's like, yeah, you said you were worried that I wouldn't make you a priority. No, I said when you were going to go on tour. I said that. I just don't want to feel like forgotten about, you know? And Paige goes, I just don't want you to ever resent me because I'm working. Like, my career is very different than when we met. And I don't feel bad about that. Which, I mean, like, the way she says it is so valid. And I don't feel bad about that. It is very funny the way she says it. So I can see why she gets some knocks. But, like, at the heart of it, yes. She, you know, like, people are allowed to change. But Craig goes, that's like a little unfair. And we have a shot of Kyle, like, looking, darting his head of, like, I hear potential resentment in voices. I must watch Craig be taken to task. But Craig's like, that's a little unfair. Like, that's not saying I'm not happy for your new life, Paige. But Paige goes, but I can also say how I feel. It makes me not want to bring stuff up to you, chicken, because sometimes I'm like, she's going to think this is an attack or that I'm not rooting for it. It's really not. I'm just asking for clarity and making sure, like, you know, after 3 years, we're still good. That's going to happen with us. Like, do we have status check-ins or year in review or something? And Paige's like, I'll give you a yearly review. I'll let you know if you're fired. And Craig kind of has this face of like realizing like, oh shit, this doesn't seem like it's going good. You can tell she's like a little annoyed. Next time on Summer House, we have Jesse talking to Ciara, flirting, like, why don't you give me a chance? And she's like, why don't you try? Who knows what that context is? And we see West look at that conversation and Ciara saying, don't let your situation stop you from finding your wife. So I don't know what that is. And then we find the information that Emerald had 2 chicks in his bed. And Wes is like, how do you know that? Did you do a foursome? Did you do a foursome without me, dude? And then we have the Craig-Kyle conversation. And Craig going, you said I have a reputation known for lying in front of the whole world. To be fair, it was Watch What Happens Live. Averages around 300,000 viewers. That is a lot of people, but not the whole world, right? And Craig's like, Kyle, what the fuck, dude? That's fucking nuts. And Kyle's like, I don't care, Craig. And Craig is like, I don't care if you're sorry. We're not cool. You should be sorry, though. And that's where we end it. But we have the Summer House After Show where I want to talk about some of the information, read some Patreon comments, supersized episode. Sorry, guys. Why not apologize? It's free content. So the after show, we start off with the girls. We have like Ciara, Paige, and Amanda talking, and they're talking about the Craig relationship after the breakup. And Paige is just talking about how she sees it a little differently after it. When you're in it, you can't necessarily see it. And Ciara's like, you had to take care of this like he was a kid almost, right? But, you know, Paige saying the obvious of like, you see it differently when you're out of it than when you're in it, and the way your friends see it. And I think I loved him so much that I tolerated too much with Craig. And I now look back on things and go, oh, wait, anytime I had like a career milestone, he found it a way to make it about him. And we flash back to that Australian scene at the Australian restaurant about being married and have kids, saying you can't choose work all the time. Paige says, anytime there was something, it was me and my friend's wedding or a family wedding, he would find a way to make it about him and make me have a bad time. And like, it was just embarrassing, Paige says. And it's something that I look back on now and I'm like, oh, wow, I really was very blinded. I had like to do a lot of damage control when I was the one performing, about to go out on stage. I started having panic attacks this fall when I was doing Giggly Squad. And he thought it was because I worked too much. And he played like into like, well, you work too much. And like, you shouldn't be doing all of this. And the producer's like, so he never comprehended maybe I'm contributing to this. And Paige is like, no, he would never. It would never be his fault. And Amanda's like, didn't he make you watch a documentary about how tours break up families? And Paige is like, yeah, he did. After I had my panic attacks, he had watched a documentary about this band. What was the band, ABBA? And she's like, Norwegian? First off, don't put disrespect on ABBA's name at all, Paige. Do your research. And Ciara's like, what the fuck are we talking about right now? But Paige is like, yeah, Craig told me to watch this documentary. It's how tours break up their marriages and ruin their lives. And Amanda's like, yeah, Paige is struggling. And this man is like, hey, watch this. And by the way, I know the documentary he's talking about, and it is fucking wild. That is a really, and I know he thought, because Craig believes in himself and his thought process so much, that he thought he was doing the right thing. I think we all see, come on, we all can agree, even if you're on Craig's side, that is not the right thing to do. If somebody's coming into you with panic attacks about live touring, you don't show them a tour where they ruin their lives because they're on tour. But also she said, I had just gotten a beta blocker prescription, which is something that helps, regulate your system for nerves. But it seems wild. It seems like we don't know so many other elements of their relationship. A lot of it wasn't shown on screen. They talk about, did Craig and Paige have great communication? And she goes, probably not. I think Craig very much gave me emotional support, and she said, I think Craig gave me a lot of emotional support, but I don't sugarcoat as much. And so she says, I would kind of have to stay more quiet when he would voice his opinions, because he would always take it as like a personal attack. So him voicing his opinion that he wants to be prioritized above my career, he knows that even if I marry you, my kids are going to become before you. You're always going to be third. Whoever I marry will always be third, which is, I don't know. I don't know how realistic that is, but if kids definitely come first. I don't know. But it says he needs to be number one. The producer says, you said you are doing what you always wanted to do. And they asked about what kind of girl Craig will wind up. And Paige is like, who knows? I'd love to meet her. Who frickin' knows? But Paige says, well, so now she says that Craig would say, sometimes he would tell me, you talk really dirty in your podcast, or like you swear. So I don't think he really, I don't know. You can just tell that all the shit is coming to light now. So he would like kind of also say, I don't like how you talk. And I don't like, so it was this, Craig was alarmed at Paige's behavior. So yeah, they both didn't belong together. But she goes, do you feel like you had open communication with him? And she goes, yeah, I feel like I could always say what I wanted to him. And they're like, yeah, you definitely would always say what you wanted to him. But Paige says there were times when things would happen in my career. Would I tell him? No, absolutely not. I would get certain milestones and I wouldn't tell him because I know he would want to be happy for me, but I knew deep down he would not be about when I would say certain things, which is so wild to hear about your partner. Paige says, I feel like I will know when I met my husband, when I want to call him before I want to call my dad. So no, I haven't met that person yet. Wild and hurtful, but wild. Paige's relationship with her family should also be studied at some point. But listen, she is getting to a place where she knows herself better. Like we're all trying to get to know ourselves better. Interesting though, dark. Now there are smaller moments in the rest of this after show, but it's like you have Jesse and Wes dressed like they're the, fucking boys to men. And Wes is like, if I called off my engagement, I'd be fucking wild in these streets, yo. We know you'd be wild in these streets. It also comes up about the make out with Brianna Chicken Fry. But it's not named as Brianna Chicken Fry, but they allude to it and says like all the girls I make out with make TikToks about it. Now Brianna Chicken Fry fired back in a TikTok. We'll probably talk about it on Monday's episode. But it is very interesting how men look at things, because it's like, why I treated this, it's just wild. But Wes talks about how he was like bum rushed by paparazzi when he was hammered at 4 a.m. So this cunning reporter got the information out of him that he made out with Brianna Chicken Fry, right? Also, Emerald says that Carl's girl hit on him at that party, which was really interesting. Lindsay's in this as well and says, it was interesting. We all went to a wedding overseas together. Carl was there. I was there. And I was like 6 or 7 weeks pregnant at that point. And that was a week before we taped the reunion. And they filmed the day before the reunion. Remember, Lindsay was on this show? She lied to me flat out. But anyways, they just talk about what a crazy situation it has been. But Carl says, listen, I know I sound like a loser with a lot of this stuff, but, you see earlier seasons of me with women and now here you are. But, he's like, it's just a part of finding myself. It's really funny, though, to watch Wes and Jesse Solomon together because it's like the blind leading the blind. And I'm just so curious to see where they wind up in 10 years and to see like where, they're going to have a Carl moment at some point. And I feel like Jesse's going to do something really messy and chaotic. I just have a feeling it's going to be years from now, but I feel like it's going to be wild. Anyways, they're all talking about Carl's girl and saying she's way too quirky, but she seemed really nice. And Kyle's like, it was about time, brother. He didn't do what a lot of people do after their breakup and, not hop back in the process. Grieve. I felt like, sure, but all right, Carl, now you did it. Now go, get your dick wet. Let's do this, brother. I don't know. So that was a lot of the information from the after show. Now, to end the episode, let's go over through some Patreon comments of what people told me their feelings about this episode. Michelle says, I thought Ryan was so angry. And at first I thought she was talking about me, but she was talking about Ryan from Southern Charm. For what reason? Clearly he doesn't understand reality TV and he brings nothing to the show. I understand what you're saying, but also I thought Ryan was not so angry. It was just like, I think he was so uncomfortable, but he just came out like bottled up anger, which I think read more angry. He clearly doesn't understand reality TV and he brings nothing to the show. In my opinion, without JT Venita, we would have had no storyline, and I do enjoy the boys. See, that's what I think. Southern Charm just needs to admit it's a show about the boys. Do you think they were all friends if no one has seen Madison? Love the podcast. Yeah, that's the other thing. We see at the reunion, Madison comes in pregnant and they're like, no way, which just goes to show you they're not in each other's lives, which is always a bummer, right? Becky says, meh, the only thing that is interesting is the JT Venita saga, but it was left open-ended, no addressing of JT quitting, no hard-hitting questions from producers to clarify the timeline. Is it because both are treated as side characters, but otherwise even the post-breakup camera pickup wasn't very interesting? Totally agree with you, and that is the problem of hinging your finale on side characters like Venita and JT. No offense to either of those people, but you have this show presented as boys, and then all of a sudden you shift gears, and it just feels really unsettling. Hopefully we'll have these hard-hitting questions at the reunion, but yeah, it's very confusing, and part of you is like, I don't know if I care, and also that pickup camera scene was less than. Oriole says, worst season to date. Rebecca says lackluster and honestly hard to watch with what's going on in the government and who these people support. Very interesting point, Rebecca, especially on Southern Charm. Summer House is over. It was so boring. No 40-somethings are throwing a theme party. See, Rebecca, we disagree there, but I get it. I think I'm just so used to it. But it's funny because you're right. No 40-somethings usually are throwing house parties, so it's fun to watch the attempt, in my book. Amy says, kind of a dud finale overall for Southern Charm. I think the reunion will be a lot better. The stuff tacked on to the end with Craig was a big disappointment. Why did they bother? They bothered because they knew they could put that scene in the trailer and have us go gaga thinking we're going to get something big. Stephanie says they need another episode to explore what happened off camera rather than catch up on everything at the reunion. That would have been nice. It would have been nice to have that in the actual finale episode. Kira says, so boring. Betty Evans says, I haven't watched it yet. We'll watch tonight, but I also need to watch the Karen Reed doc, which I highly recommend, folks. Aubrey says, still kind of team JT overall. It was a snooze of a season without the JT drama and the Craig Paige breakup. I would have stopped watching halfway through. I also want to throw the Shep Scheana stuff in there. That was great. I thought that was great, but I understand your point. Amy says, the way they made Shep, the way they made out Shep was Mercy banging Molly was pretty icky, even for this show. Trying to shoehorn Shep being a good guy into the season didn't land. I don't think any of these people come across as a reliable narrator. So much fakery to take into the reunion. There has to be an element of reality to be able to suspend my belief, but just comes across as desperation to keep the show going. That's a great, solid point, Amy. Really interesting. The Mercy bang makes me laugh, but a great point. Totally agree with so much of this. Katie says, strange. Haven't Molly and Whitney hooked up before? The Shep Molly line seemed very produced. Yeah, they alluded to Molly and Whitney hooking up on the first episode of the season, even though I think a lot of people forgot, but not you, Katie, and not me. And Rachel just said, wild. And she put 3 exclamation points. So it was wild. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this long episode. We'll be back on Monday with a pop culture roundup, but we had a whole week of great shows, so go check them out and really support, if you can, You're always asking how to support. Patreon, of course, but those interviews that you think you might not like, Susan Morrison, who wrote the book on Lorne Michaels from SNL, you're like, maybe that's not my thing. Maybe listen to it and try. Those are the ones that I really am proud of and love to do. I'm proud of this whole show. I want to thank Maritza. I want to thank Sandra that I work with. I want to thank S71. But those episodes, give them a shot. Give them the Karen Reed director a shot, because that's the stuff I really love. I love being able to do both. So anyways, I hope you're having the best weekend ever, and I will talk to you obviously very, very soon. Bye.